Hello lovelies, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if this is your first time of stopping by. Hello, you're highly welcome. Please consider subscribing to my channel. To my old subscribers, I say thank you very much for all your support. I really appreciate it. And today's video will be making this lovely princess dart illusion for our princesses today. If it's something you're interested, please watch to the end, and I'll see you at the end of the video. For this style, I'll be making use of my paper to mark out the bodies because of the design, the princess dart illusion at the front part of it. And for this, I'll be marking out two lines that will serve as my zipper allowance, my zipper space. So it's just like if you want to feature what you fold your fabric into for, that's the same thing I'm going to do. I'm marking my front and my back bodies together. So my measurement is going to be starting from the first line, which is the center front, and I'm going to go ahead and mark my half length, which is 12 inches plus 1 inch allowance. So the first line is my center front. That's where I'm going to start to mark my my shoulder divided by 2. That's what I marked, and the same thing is what I went down with for my own armhole depth. Then I'm going to go ahead and connect the line. That's my shoulder is 12 inches plus divided by 2, which is 6 inches. I marked for my shoulder, then use it to mark downward for my shoulder for my armhole depth. So for my neckline, I'm going to be marking at 2.5 inches. Then for the length, I'm going to be marking at 3 inches, and I'm going to make a curve there for a round neck. Remember, all our measurement is starting from the first line, which is the center front. So for my shoulder slope, I'm going down by 1 inch, and I will go ahead to connect it to the neckline. The next thing I'm going to do is to take my bust measurement, which is 28 inches divided by 2, and then I added 2 inches allowance for joining. Then I marked my waist measurement as well, divided by 4, and then I marked my allowance as well. And then I'm going to go ahead and make a curve for my armhole curve. Then before cutting it out, we are going to go ahead and insert the princess dart illusion there, and for this, at my waistline, I marked at 3 inches. Then at my armhole line, I'm going to be marking at 3 inches as well. Then I marked 3 inches as well for the on the armhole line. So I'm going to go ahead, just mark a straight line from the waistline up to the chest line to the armhole line. Then I'm going to make a curve there to connect it to the line, to the mark I made at the armhole. And then I'm going to go ahead and make sure that there's no sharp edge at that embossed area. Just curve it well. Then I'm going to go ahead and then mark my back neckline, which is 1 inch, and then I connected it to the neck, the front width I just marked, that I marked earlier. And that's all for this body. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please hit on the subscribe button, join the growing family, give me a thumbs up as well if you're enjoying this video. So while cutting this, before you cut this princess dart out or princess illusion out, please make sure that you cut your lining with this before cutting it out. So I'm going to go ahead, as I didn't know how I'm supposed to cut mine first before cutting it. I went ahead to stick it back, but I want to cut the back bodice first, so I stick it back before cutting the back bodice. You're supposed to cut the back bodice, then cut off all the necessary things from the back body. Cut your front neck lining first before cutting the princess illusion out. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the zipper allowance and also remove the neckline. What I'm cutting now, you're not supposed to cut this out. I made a mistake. I'm supposed to cut out my neckline, and I went ahead to cut out the allowance at the damper. So I'm going to replace it while transferring this to my fabric. Sorry, that's what I'm showing you guys. So I'm going to replace that 1 inch, and my fabric, this place is supposed to be at the folded part because that's your center front. So it's supposed to be at the center folded part, and you're going to add 1/2 inch allowance at that center where you're going to join together that place that we separated. You're going to add just where I'm showing you guys now, add 1/2 inch at those areas so that you can attach it to the other piece. So for my sleeve, this is a balanced sleeve. I'm going to go ahead and double my my sleeve measurement. I think I have more than double here. I have extra few inches for this, so I'm going to go ahead, and then for the length, I also increase the length because I want it to, by the time the person wears it, I'm going to pull it up a little bit. So I marked it, and then I added 2 inches allowance for the hemming. Then I'm going to go ahead and mark 3 inches for the cap side, and then connect it to the shoulder line. Just if you have your French curve, please make use of it, but if you don't have, just connect it in such a way that you want to write S or a long S, just like you can see in the video. I'm sorry that you can't see it properly. If you have watched my videos, you must have seen it before now, the way I do it well. And I'm going to use it to cut out another one, making it two sleeves for each armhole. And this is it after I was done cutting it out. So the next thing you're going to do is to start joining our body, and I use the front, the center front, to cut out the plain fabric, just the same measurement. Remember, we've added allowance to the Ankara fabric, so there's no need adding another allowance. I just cut it out the same way. So I'm going to go ahead and pin this down to keep it in place. You can as well go ahead and stitch it, but for me, I think that's a longer process. I'm going to go ahead and pin this down. And I also pin the neckline as well, because I don't want to have it moving up and down, and by the time I'm done stitching, I'll find out that there's something one is not where it's supposed to be, and I have to start losing. So that's why I pin down first. So for this one, I'm going to go ahead and then attach it. Remember, we added 1/2 inch, so you're going to stitch down by 1/2 inch all the way to where the fabric ends, and I'll do the same thing for the other side. And then for the back neckline, I cut out my fabric into 4. I duplicated it so that I can use one to turn the other neckline. If you have your lining, please make use of your lining for this aspect. But for me, I'm using my fabric as the lining, so I cut that into 2. I'm going to be using one to turn the neck, the other one. So I stitch at the neckline, just the neckline. The armhole, I'm not stitching at that place because we're going to attach our sleeve there. So this is the front bodice when I was done stitching it down. So I'm going to be using my lining. If you have your lining, you use it, but for me, I'm using my fabric, and you have to cut it out before you separate your princess illusion. So I'm going to use it as well to turn my neckline, just like I turned the back neckline. So this is it after I was done stitching it down. The next thing I'm going to do is to notch it all around so that we can release any tension that is there, and I'll do the same thing for the back neckline. And then turn it inside out. If you have light, you go ahead and iron it at this moment, or if you don't, just use your hand to arrange it as much as you can. And I'll do the same thing for the back body. So when I was done turning it inside down and inside out, the next thing I'm going to do is to arrange it well and then stitch these two shoulders together. Then for the remaining of the gather part, I deducted my half length from the total measurement, and that's what I cut out, plus 3 inches allowance for hemming and then for joining. So I'm going to be folding this by 1.5 inches. The remaining half inch, I'm going to use it to join the gather to the bodice. So the first I showed you guys is that I'm going to be running loose stitch at that upper part so that I can gather it. For the sleeve, I'm going to fold. Remember, whatever you're going to fold, it to be bold enough to accommodate your safety pin and your elastic when you pass it through. So I'm going to hem that area. So this is the bodice after I was done stitching the shoulders. What I'm doing here is just take out my zipper allowance. I just arranged it well, and then the excess at the back is just my zipper allowance. Now this is the sleeve. When I was done stitching this down, what I'm going to do is to pass my elastic through it, and I'll also do the same thing for the other side. And then for my gather part, I'm done running stitches there. What I'm going to do is to pull on one of the thread to form the gather. Just pull on one and then you keep pulling to form your gathers there. And this is my sleeve after attaching my elastic to it. You can see it. So we're going to go ahead and then attach it to the bodice. And for this, I'm going to open it up, then front facing front. I'm going to go ahead and then pin it at the beginning of the sleeve area. Just go ahead and do the same as I'm doing now. Then I'm going to make little pleats coming up towards the shoulder, and at that shoulder part I'm going to have more excess fabric there. I'll do the same thing for the other side. I'm just pin it down, then from there I'm going to plait just a little bit at that area so that it doesn't just pack at the shoulder side, and then the remaining one, which I have more there, I'm going to then stitch it down at my area shoulder area. And this is it after I was done stitching it down. The next thing I'm going to do is to arrange my bodice together, and then I'm going to stitch all the way from the armhole to where the half length ends, to the bodice to where it ends with my allowance, or you can remeasure at this moment. So this is it after I was done stitching it down. I'm going to then measure the waistline so that I can gather my fabric the same measurement with the waistline. And when I was done gathering it, I'm going to go ahead and then place the gather. Remember, you're not supposed to gather the zipper allowance. I'm going to place it front facing front as well, and then I'm going to stitch it down all the way from one side to where it ends. And this is it after I was done stitching it down. The next thing I'm going to do is to close up the zipper area and then attach my zip. And I think that's all for this style. I hope you enjoyed this video. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please give me a thumbs up if you do. Do not leave today without subscribing. Join the growing family. Please hit on the subscribe button. Give me a thumbs up. Share my videos, please, to your family and friends. And I will see you in my next video. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.